don't want to say too much, and look, I've got probably over 40 odd years, 1,000 D stories I could probably tell. But look, I just want to say that this man has been probably, I've only ever had one father, but I can't imagine being a better father than what this man has been.
Good on you.
And I think back to when I was a kid, and he'd take you to all the sporting things that you did, and took you everywhere you needed to be, and coached in all the teams that you were in. And as I got older, continued to try and throw balls at me, cricket, and even to the age when I was 21, he was still doing it. And I can't tell him enough how much I appreciate that. Now, unfortunately, it didn't result in anything, but that's the way it goes. And look, to this day, he's still helping me out. Now, I'm renovating a house at the moment, and there's a few people who are probably going to laugh at this, but this is the last house that So I say that in terms of the last house that'll be my own, because what I will do is I'll help my kids renovate their house, because that's something that he's still doing for me. Comes around, paints windows, puts sheds up, anything like that. So, and that's instilled in me, I think a great quality, and I look forward to helping my kids renovate their homes if they ever do it. And I'm going to tell them to buy one from Plantation Homes, which is so I don't have to go and do that. But no, if they do go down that road, the work ethic that he has, if I can sort of model that, I'll be a pretty happy person.
You never told us all about this, mate?
Now, 10 years ago I did the same thing. Now, where was I?
You weren't here.
That's right.
Drunk,
no, you're right. I wasn't.
drunk usual.
Look, Andrew's had a go. Let's not miss Louise. This is, tell you what, Louise, I walked in today and I thought, she's the fittest looking of the three of us. I think that could be the first time you've fly past the big fella over there. That's fantastic. I don't know what you've been doing, but yeah. While we're talking about Louise, let's talk about the cake, which is inside. I walked in and I looked at it and I thought, is that a hammer? Pliers stuck to it, and at the top it had tools. Fantastic, yes, that's a nice little bit of humour from Louise. And how about Mum and the fantastic effort today? Look, I started thinking about this and I thought, I'm going to get a chance to talk here today. Because the truth is, I've waited 10 years to do this. 10 years ago, we started and we bagged and we gave a whole lot of big isms at his 60th, and we talked about all the little stories and all the rest of it. And then, right when we were about to get to the good bit, we got cut off. So, here's the rest of it. Here's the rest of what we're going to say that very night. What's the measure of a man? That's a question. Is it how much money he earns? Is it the kind of car he drives? Is it the kind of house he has? Is it how much money he donates to this, that and the other? It's how much he gives of himself. And there's no better example anywhere than that bloke right there of how much he gives of himself to other people. None at all. You heard Andrew stand here a minute ago, and I'm standing here saying the same thing. If there's a better example of how much you give of yourself to other people, I'm yet to see it. I've met a lot of folks, but that's the one. When we were in Nauru, we were 7 or 8 years old, and how ballsy is it to take your family overseas for 4.5 years? You take your kids away from...
There are asylum seekers everywhere doing exactly the same thing.
There's always one as well. That's my girl. And they take their family overseas away from grandparents for 4.5 years, at exactly the time when they are the age that Adeline and Mayella are now, or very near it. And these guys, Mum and Dad, look at it and think, God, imagine if they did that. I've taken them out eyes, which is nearly as far. But it's still a big deal, and it's a really big deal because of opportunity and things like that. And the stuff that rubs off on your kids when you do that is extraordinary. when we got there, there wasn't a lot for the kids to do. So within 12 months, there was soccer for kids because he organised it. And kids went and played soccer down on the oval there, and we played against the Gilbertese, a very racist competition. There were the white kids from up the top against the Chinese kids from over here, and we always used to lose, the way it goes. But he still did it. And then the guys made soccer posts. They were heavy metal soccer posts. We put them on the back of the ute. We used to drive them home, and the kids would be put on the back of the ute to hold the posts on. And one day they fell off. On me. That's all right, but the post's okay. Yeah, the posts are fine. They won't be damaged. A couple of years after that, still in the route, the athletics, for some reason, had become a big thing, and all we used to do was race each other up and down the road. So what happens? The topside track, which is full of asylum seekers right now, thanks for stealing the thunder, Kate, was marked out, and there's a track and field competition for kids on the route, because he did it. So there was two. And I won a trophy. All his kids said, only because your dad's running it. I said, well, you're half right, you know, yeah, he is running it, but that's not why we got one. You know? And, but we were very proud of that. There was another guy who ran a gymnastics thing for kids, trampoline and a beam and rings and all the rest of it. And the beam came from him because he got one off a ship, and the fellas planed it and sanded it and all the rest of it and made it something you could walk upon. And this guy stood there in front of all the kids and said, and let's not forget Mr. Pilgrim and his men who have put this beam together. And Andrew looked up and said, "It's my dad." I was about 7, maybe 8, right? And that's what happened, and it was great, right? We're really, really proud of that. We went to Gladstone. He hated cricket. He'd never been a cricket fan in his whole life. And yet, all of a sudden, he's the president of the Gladstone Junior Cricket Association. His 2 kids love cricket. And he used to come along and umpire. He'd get me at LBW, most unfairly. But that's the way it went. And in the end, we liked it. And while that day you might remember the fact that you got a done decision, here we are, 30-something years later, and that's what we remember. Remember the fact that he put it on. He organised it. He did all of that sort of stuff simply because his kids were interested. There's no other reason. He didn't get a thing for it, apart from a little plaque that's probably hanging on the wall in there that says President, GJCA, 1983. But that was it. He did it because his kids liked it. This is a fellow who talk about enduring friendships. Right? I've often looked at this and I thought, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, he's got an enduring friend that he met in every single one of those decades. Now, a few of you are here today. He had Howard, who I would love to have seen here, from York, who used to say things like, when he was 17, he'd been all around the world, and he'd come back, and he would tell us stories. And we used to sit like this. Because we'd never been out here with village. And that's the way, that's the impact. And here we are, 60 years later, and he and Howard are still mates. John Goldsmith's here. They've been mates since the 60s, early 60s. And I look at that and I think, wow, that's before I got here. 70s, he met a guy called Jeff Lax in the room. There's a birthday card from Jeff sitting in on a shelf in there. Terrific, fantastic stuff. In the 80s, Mum backed into Ann Patterson in the car. And a friendship was born. Who would have thought?
Hey, they've been to course with 2 cars.
It was raining. Raining, and Mum backed into Ann and said, "Oh, God. Could you, look, go out and tell them we live on the corner and now's not the time, but, you know, we'll be fine. We'll all be good." And so Ann said, "Yeah, I know where you live." Right. It's raining. But here we are. And then, even today now, I met Jeff, who is from this decade. There's somebody everywhere. Everywhere indeed. And even Ken McNaughton now, when I was 5. Where's Ken? When I was 5, Ken McNaughton was the coolest man in the world. Right? We lived up here, just not far from here at Seagoing Street.
He's still pretty cool.
He sure is. Yeah, and we had to go to the Gap. We'd be going out to the Gap, and Mum and Dad said, "Oh, we're going all out to the Gap." You know, just the way they talk about the Gap is a long way. I live in the Gap now. It's just down the road. Right, you can get to the footy and the city much quicker from the Gap than you can from here or from Wayla Line. I love it. Right, fantastic. But just seeing such a collection of people who have known him for so long and who are still prepared to say, yeah, I'm his mate. Right? And that speaks for itself. We've got 1,000 years, and Andrew was right, we've loved it. And the very fact that we love it is what makes the relationship between him and his 2 boys and his daughter so good, so strong, because as his brother-in-law, David Hartley, another card in there, said, you've got to love it if your kids are hanging crap on you all the time, they're talking to you, and how much fun is that? Yeah. And he said, that's great fun. And he and David's got 2 boys, a bit older than me, they do the same to him. They stand at funerals and say, you'll be next. That's the sort of thing that they have. And I find that really funny, and their dad laughs, and it's all good. And if your kids are talking to you when they're in their 40s, just like we have been for so many years, then I reckon as a dad, you must have done something really, really right. Yeah. And I know he has. I don't have anything more. That's the second half of what we were going to say 10 years ago.
You're going to get to it, mate.
Why do you think that is, Rod?
Slow learner.
And there we are. So let's get him out of here. And,
Thanks, mate.
all right.
Tim, before he starts, can I just ask what electorate you're sitting in next Saturday? Election.
Ryan?
No, like a wee voting for you.
Anything can be better than what we got.
Well, after that from
Well done, Tim.
my 2 sons, what can I say? You know, thank you very much. Did I really do all those things?
Yeah,
I guess I did.
absolutely.
I guess I did, yes. Today, we're celebrating 70 years for me, and the people who I most wanted here are all here. Thank you very much for coming. Timothy spoke about the friendships, and we go back apart from the family itself, when we're talking about my Portline acquaintances, I never sailed with Charlie, but we knew each other by name. I never actually sailed with Ollie. Again, we knew each other by name. And then in 1971, 71, 72, we both joined joint cargo services actually at the same time. Almost on the same day, but the same week anyway. Ollie went down as the terminal manager at Brisbane Port, and I was in the office as I didn't forget what they called me. No, I can't remember what it's called. But we worked closely together. Over the years, met more people, and they're all here today. So I'm just saying thank you very much for coming. And 70 years onwards, well, we have a history in the Pilgrim family of some longevity. Oh God! Oh God!
Another 30 to
Father
go.
was there, so I threatened to the children, the kids, my grandchildren, to look after me on my 100th birthday. One thing was, my father wasn't quite the drinker that I am. So there might be a bit of a difference there.
You are.
It's been great. Thanks all for
Well done, Mike. Well done.
Here's to Michael.
Hey!
catching all the oldies up.
Ladies and gentlemen, young Michael. He's only young. He's only 70. Me, I'm nearly 73. I propose a toast to my brother, my brother in arms. Shush! Shush in the background. Shush. Yes. Hit that woman over the head with a baseball bat. This is a very momentous occasion. So I can recall my 70th. I was not as sober as Michael, actually. Can't understand that. And however, as Tim said, Anne and I met Michael through a sexual relationship between Marg and Anne having a car incident at an intersection between Hewitt Street and Shaw Road. drunk as lords they were in those days. However, from that became a relationship, became a brotherhood, and one thing that Anne and I, my lovely bride, and I enjoy is going away with my brother and my sister-in-law, is on little tours to Maleny, Kingaroy, wherever it might be, for our little interludes, for a weekend or a night or two, share a few drinks, nothing more than a few, of course, knowing Michael and I.
No, very good, Rod.
That's
On the right path. Thank you.
right.
Rod, yes.
So we savour enough next day to
Hallelujah.
have some more, and buy some more victuals to carry on for another 24 hours or whatever. However, Michael is a man that I'm sure most of you know has got the most, and so is Mark, the most generous personalities, the most generous disability. They will help anybody who is in trouble. They will help anybody who wants an assistance.
Yep.
His sons have already said that in what they've done for him. And this is because it goes back to teaching our kids and our grandkids the thing that is missing so much in Australia today.
Here, here.
And that is to help our fellow man through our little traumas. And we've just moved house, and without Mike and Marg and a few other friends, my wife and I would probably be in a pine box today.
That's true.
It's true, it's not
Very
I'm not
true.
joking, we'd be through SHIT, sorry children, it doesn't spell what you think it does, it spells a nice word.
That's what you find in the bottom of a coffee cup.
Exactly, yes, that's right, the bottom of a
Sure.
coffee cup. And thank you, Mike, thank you, Marg, we love you as brother and sister.
Good on you, mate. Good on you.
Oh, look, I've got to say.
I don't believe it.
Please. I wish I had the verbal dexterity of a politician. Rod, I back up all what you say, but I'm his brother-in-law and I should know a little bit more about him, and there's nothing I can say about him that would detract from what Rod has said. I am proud to be his brother-in-law and his mate.
Day completely different and new as I remember Mike, and many years ago, and more recently in various meetings. But I think the important thing that I and our group of mariners here is to express that we're all very dedicated people, and we hoist and carry this flag everywhere we go. Mike, myself, and Ken, Portline, John, Portline, and we're so proud of what we were part of. And we worked very hard, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're always anxious to go ashore and join up and meet one of the other young ladies. But usually we're too busy.
You dirty old man.
But ultimately we met up in Brisbane in Joint Cargo Services. And Ken and Mike were part of the office.